Well, hey there, guys. I'm Max the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shot, the ZeldaDungeon.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. Our first question comes from Mr. Penguin64. If in Skyward Sword Link obtains the Master Sword, then do you think we will see a clip somewhere near the end of the game in which it shows him stealing the Master Sword, or do you think that they might do that in another game? I'm not sure. That's a definite possibility. I mean, that would be interesting to see. At the same time, I think that Skyward Sword takes place a significant enough time before Ocarina of Time, or probably will anyway, that we probably won't see the creation of the establishments and the actual temples and such that we saw in Ocarina of Time. I think more likely that this is something that will actually have happened between games. I don't think they're actually going to cover that happening in the game, because that doesn't seem like something Link would do, him stealing the sword. I think that's something more like, people who revere him as the hero would do. Unless the story of the sentient Skyward Sword becoming the non-sentient Master Sword involves some level of sacrifice from the Skyward Sword, in which case Link might enshrine it more as like a burial, if so, or something, if the Skyward Sword becomes his friend. That could be mighty interesting, actually. Just a thought, though. I don't know. Norasam asks, if possible, would you have made it so that Zelda always had the classic formula and never changed to the 3D formula? I wouldn't say so. I mean, I constantly talk about the 2D games having elements I wish they didn't drop, but at the same time, I think that there's things about the 3D games that are, quite crucial. In fact, my favorite games are generally the 3D titles. So, I think really what I want is that, if I had to pick between that, it's not exactly an ideal decision, but if I had to pick, I'd want the 3D advancements to have happened, probably. But ultimately, I think I would have liked some kind of balance between the two. Like, they did the 3D, but they kept certain aspects of the 2D. And actually, I hope they still go and do that. I hope that's what they do. But I want to know what you guys think. Which would you pick? Cooperville Pop 101 asks, why do the Beamos have Triforces on them if they try to kill you? This is one I've been asked a couple of times. I wasn't actually intending to answer it, but, I was asked enough that I kind of have to. I don't think it means anything. The Triforce is simply a symbol of the world of Hyrule. Whether it's... even Ganondorf believes in the goddesses. It's a kind of story where they've been proven to exist. He's borrowing their power. Whether or not he really reveres them or he follows the kinds of things that they want, doesn't mean that he doesn't believe in it. The Triforce is just a part of the world. It's a symbol of the goddesses. It's just an artifact of power that Ganon seeks. The Beamos in there are actually not exactly monsters. They are statues, maybe not necessarily originally created by Ganon. They could be sentries left in general, and statues have symbols on them, and this is a symbol that's important. So I don't think it's that weird, personally, and I don't think there's a lot of reason for it. Uber Pyro 64 asks, in your opinion, what is the creepier dungeon in Ocarina of Time, the Shadow Temple or the Well? Also, why did they seal Bongo Bongo in the Well rather than the Shadow Temple? I don't know. The Well was eerie in a way, but so was the Shadow Temple. I think I'd pick the Shadow Temple just because it had some more of the weird stuff rather than just... the Lens of Truth stuff, other than just invisible walls and stuff. But, I don't know, they both were creepy in their own ways, and in some ways the Well was creepier. I don't know, you guys tell me what you think in the comments. As for the Well thing with Bongo Bongo, it's a very strong possibility that the Shadow Temple didn't exactly exist prior to, when Bongo Bongo was sealed in the Well. Additionally, it's possible, based on the theories, that the Lens of Truth was owned by the man who became Bongo Bongo, and his house was on the spot of the well. Maybe that's why they put him in the well or something. That's just a theory, though. No one's proven what Bongo Bongo's origins are. And additionally, you could also just consider that the well is something they weren't really using. They drew water from it probably, but other than that, they didn't go down there into the creepy chamber beneath. And the Shadow Temple was actually a place of worship or praying or Zen meditation or whatever. It was a place that they used. It was important. It was sacred. You wouldn't steal something evil in a place that was sacred, despite the entire theme of the Shadow Temple. Yeah. Comeback King asks, you profess in the mailbag that Majora has a big deal to do with the Stone Tower Temple due to its design and imagery. One thing I thought was curious was the Happy Mask Salesman, who has some attribute to being a descendant of the people who knew of Majora's Mask, the ancient ones. The mask just right at the salesman's face has his bag. The mask just right at the salesman's face on his bag is the face of the Mirror Shield, a treasure of sorts of the royal family of Icona. Well, I don't know. I've actually never supported the theory that the Happy Mask Salesman was related to the Iconians, because I really believe he's the same guy from Hyrule. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't from Termina, but at the same time, I don't see a lot of reason to make the connection. And besides, the nature of his journey, he's a journeying guy who collects masks from all over his travels. He obviously travels between the two dimensions. So, in a way, I don't think it means a lot that he has a mask that looks like the Mirror Shield. He knows about Majora's Mask because he's a traveler. He picks up stories. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. But I don't know. The Mirror Shield thing's interesting. It could just be a coincidence because the Mirror Shield face was just sort of a generic face. And, I don't know. I don't see a lot of importance there. I don't think the masks he carried really meant anything. It was just part of his decoration. I don't know. Ivan Babik asks, in the Minish Cap, which takes place prior to Ocarina of Time, you can see the ancestors of the people from Hyrule of games that take place later in the timeline, like Karlov, Malon, or Talon, but also the ancestors of people from Termina, like Anju, the Postman, and Gorman. So do you think that at one point in history a group of Highlands immigrated from Hyrule to Termina? Well, note that Termina is actually an alternate dimension, so they contain the same people, just different versions of them. And in fact, Hyrule had, all of those characters you mentioned pretty much had versions in Hyrule. Anju was the Cuckoo Lady, Postman was the Running Man, and Gorman was Ingo. So, while they may have reused the names, it doesn't mean a lot. I mean, it was just, they didn't have, a lot of them didn't even have names in Ocarina of Time. Additionally, I really think in the Minish Cap that isn't a timeline thing. I think that was just them, reusing characters, but not like in a sense that it was like they grew older and they were in the next game at 2. But it's really just, it's a different time. It's not connected in any way, but they decided to use the same character. It wasn't supposed to be descendants or anything. I really think that's what they were doing with Minish Cap, and I think it's kind of apparent because they were using the toon style. It seemed like they wanted to use these characters in that style. Yeah, that's all I can say on it, really. Andreas Biliunas asks, where do you think Spirit Tracks falls on the Zelda timeline? If you believe that Malladus is Ganon and when you kill him he blows up in the air, would that mean he is finally destroyed? Would this mark the end of the timeline? I don't believe Malladus is Ganon, personally. I mean, it's an interesting thought, and I've considered it on occasion in the past. At the same time, if Ganon dies, it means nothing because he's been revived in the Oracle games, and he was talking about being revived. They were talking about reviving him in Adventure of Link. It doesn't mean anything. He can revive. Furthermore, Spirit Tracks factually takes place after Phantom Hourglass on the timeline. Whether other games come afterwards because Malladus is Ganon or whatever, I don't know. No comment. Green Lantern fan asks, in A Link to the Past there is a Dark World, and in Twilight Princess there is a Twilight Realm. Do you think there's any connection between the two? Definitely not, because the Dark World was actually the corrupted Sacred Realm. The person who touches the Triforce, if they have an evil heart, and their wish is evil, then the Sacred Realm turns into the Dark World, a place of evil. That's as simple as that. The Twilight Realm always existed, and it was this parallel universe/world, so it's just another plane of existence. It's supposed to be there. It's natural. It's not evil. Though they obviously were trying to draw parallels. Benjamin Brown asks, I've heard that a lot of people don't like Zelda because of its overuse of Midi music. I don't know what Midi is. Apparently they want orchestrated music, even though the music in Twilight Princess sounds pretty orchestrated to me. Can you explain what Midi is and how it's different from orchestrated? Thanks. I don't know exactly what the term Midi means because I'm not that knowledgeable about music. I know that I believe what they're talking about, and I don't know if Midi is actually the correct term to use here. I'm not sure. But Midi, what they're talking about is the fact that the music in the Zelda games, no matter what style it mimics, is not actually recorded with an orchestra. What they're recording it with is like computer programs that mimic the sounds. I don't know what they call that, but basically they have the sounds recorded on the computer and they play the instruments with a computer and record the music. An orchestra, even Twilight Princess did this, and there are places where it's apparent if you're paying attention. And it's just does not sound as good as if you actually record an orchestra playing, because the real playing of the instruments in the orchestra obviously is better than the computer mimicking it. So yeah, Twilight Princess was not orchestrated. It was made with like synthesizers stuff on the computer, and that's what people want for future Zelda games, and it's something other series have done. Liumaskar, I don't know how to pronounce that, asks, how or why does Ganondorf get the Triforce of Power? Basically, what happens, and I don't know if this goes along with like every game where he has it, but in Ocarina of Time, the Triforce of Power, I mean the Triforce in general, the full Triforce, has the 3 parts, Power, Wisdom, and Courage. And if someone with a balanced heart of the 3 traits, they literally have the traits of Power, Wisdom, and Courage balanced in their heart or whatever, and they touch the Triforce, they get their wish. If their heart is imbalanced, then the Triforce breaks up, and they get the piece that best represents them. In this case, Ganondorf was power-hungry / powerful, so he got the Triforce of Power. And then the other 2 pieces went to people it fit. The Wisdom went to Zelda, the Courage went to Link. So Ganondorf has to go reclaim the Triforce pieces so he can get his wish. Shane71998 asks, I have a pretty good idea of what the Zelda timeline could be, but one thing baffles me. If Minish Cap supposedly takes place in Hyrule and shows the origins of the Green Cap, and Skyward Sword tells the origins of Hyrule and the Master Sword, if Skyward Sword is first, then how is the Green Cap present if Minish Cap came after it, and if Minish Cap is first, then how does it take place in Hyrule? First of all, Minish Cap being first is only a theory. I mean, there are things to back it up, but there are things that contradict it too. It's not a solid thing, even though it's considered a fairly normal thing. Furthermore, Skyward Sword is also not stated to be at the beginning either. It's just before Ocarina of Time. So, I don't know. As for the cap thing, I've never bought that. I mean, Link's cap doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's just a hat. It's not the same Link, and they're not passing down the hat. Even though it was stated by developers or whatever, I don't think it makes a bit of sense. It's a silly notion. And as for like whether it's like it's part of the hero's clothes, that's only relevant in certain games. In other games, it's just what Link wears. It doesn't mean anything. The hat doesn't mean anything. It's a moot point. Alright guys, that's it for this time. Be sure to send your questions to the email address in the description, and later.